I'm going to read only the first and last chapters of a book because I'm unhinged. Thank you to Karma for sponsoring this video. Hi, it's David G. What does the G stand for? The G stands for gonna be a menace to society. I really want to get ahead of my goal this year of 7,640 books. I picked that number because that's how many more weeks I plan on living for. And also, sometimes you read a book and you think, damn, I really should not have bothered. Why waste time? We lot word when few word do trick. So Karma helps me waste less money too. So Karma is a discount and a Chrome extension. App scours the web for price drops and deals. I love a good post-holiday sale. Like the consumerist inside me just screams at me to get a fashion sense. I actually copped these using the app. It's super easy. You just download the Chrome extension, go on a web page for any product. I really like the Philly Society because their cover designs are just top tier. The extension just lives on the side. You can drag it up and down. Say notify me whenever there's a price change. And what's great is you can have an item in multiple lists. For example, books, subsection, books that will make me smarter. Hopefully, extension will automatically look for deals for you. Which is super cool, only for Chrome users. And Karma also has specific partners where if you buy from them, you get cash back, but also the company will donate to a good cause. And the best part about all this broom broom is the fact that it's free! So the link to download the app and Chrome extension is in the description. Personally, use the app myself, and I think it's great, so go download Karma. Now it's Instagram, hey, give me a book to read. You just want to see me suffer. Nadia had this amazing idea to hold me hostage and against my will force me to watch After 3 without any context. And that video should be dropping on her channel sometime in the future. Only 2 chapters, let's just go. We live in a time where people ask which school you went to before asking your last name. Well, maybe because asking what school someone went to is just more interesting than their last name, which most cases will tell me nothing. Chapter 1. My alarm is set off to go off any minute. I've been awake for half the night, shifting back and forth, counting the lines between the ceiling tiles and repeating the course schedule in my head. Tessa! I hear my mother's voice call from downstairs. No! But it's called that structure when some girl is waking up like this and her mother's like, Penelope Geometric Smith the third, come downstairs, get your breakfast. My hands shake as I fumble with the zipper on my dress. My mother insisted that I wear it. I finally win the battle with the zipper. Okay. My boyfriend Noah will be here soon to ride up with us. He's a year younger than me, but will turn 18 soon. She's 18 and he's 17? He's literally a minor. Wait, the chapter's nearly ending. It's like pretty... Okay, so we've got a boyfriend called Noah. He's also gonna go to WCU. What is it with American? They always just like say their colleges as letters. No, it's like WCU, ICU, IUD, PTSD. Teresa! Mother, I am coming down now. Please do not scream my name again. The only role her mother has had. She's only had one word. Give him an equally bright smile, trying to hide my nerves and pull my dirty blonde hair into a ponytail. What paddler? Round 2 of styling my hair ends with a better result than the first. I brush a lint roller over my grey dress one last time. I have no idea what college will be like, and unexpectedly, the question that keeps dominating my thoughts is, will I make any friends? Tessa likes to describe every detail of her life. Let's find out if she makes any friends by going to the last chapter of this book. What's going on? Why is Hardin just standing there? What's happening? I second that, Jace. Jace Wayland? I will tell you outside, Hardin says, his voice low. I look into his brilliant eyes. Like, your eyes. Probably makes the stars look like they're not shining. He pauses, fidgeting with his fingers before he speaks. I'm sorry. He holds his hand out in front of me. Tessa, you have to remember that this was way, way before I even knew you. His eyes are big for us. Can already tell that Hardin has made a bet. I don't trust my voice and I barely open my mouth when I speak. Tell me, the second party you came to when we played Truth or Dare and Nate asked if you were a virgin? He closes his eyes as if to gather his thoughts. You said that you were, and that gave someone an idea. Gave who the idea? Molly May interrupts. His eyes never leave mine. It could be fun to make a bet. No! I choke and I take a step backward. Confusion rhymes into my already jumbled thoughts, disrupting any attempt to make sense of them, to make sense of what I'm hearing. Okay, but actually this is me every day. Right? Me either. The sheets, though. I mean, how can you deny the blood on the sheets? Molly May laughs. Molly May. The level of humiliation and loss is worse than I could have ever imagined. Yeah, I can imagine. These sound like terrible people. This is like episode of You Said This. Blah, blah, blah. What'd you do with the money, Hardin? Your car, the paint, and the deposit for my apartment. Wait, the deposit for his apartment? How much money did he get? Damn. Loved you the entire time, I swear it. Boy, if you don't shop and get the hell out. You kept the content to show that you showed them the sheet. Nah, he's vile. What's wrong with Hardin, man? I take off for the door, taking advantage of his position on his knee. Let me take you home, he says. So Zed just jumps into the car, and then Hardin's on his knees again. I'm so sorry. All right. I had no idea that it would get that out of hand. What? You had, and you paid for the deposit of your apartment. You had absolutely no idea that it would get this out of hand. Tell me everything, every single detail, with worried eyes. He satches my face for a moment, and then realizing he has no choice, is quite okay as we turn on to the freeway. So turns out that no, she does not find any friends. I love how that last chapter basically just told me all the details that I need to know. The thing she wasn't expected for in college was the fact that people are literally children in college and they continue to bully, even though this type of behavior is actually year 9 behavior. Obviously, Noah's been dumb with Hardin, who made a bet gone wrong, and now there's this guy called Zed, and she didn't make any friends. Because I watched movie 3, she gets back with Hardin. The bar is on the floor, ladies and gentlemen. They both die at the end. This is a book that I actually wanted to read. What's gonna happen? Are they gonna die at the end? Mateo Torres. Deathcast is calling with the warning of a lifetime. Deathcast, I'm going to die today. Alright? Straight into the death. How exposition here is given through the fact that he's getting like a phone call and he's afraid of dying, and exposition after was given through the fact of her washing her coochie and brushing her hair. So there's this service called Deathcast, which apparently knows the date that you're gonna die, and they call you and say, oh hey, your heads up, you're gonna die. So it seems he doesn't have that many people in his life, considering the fact that there's only his dad and his best friend Lydia, and his mother died. But imagine future Mateo trying out new things. Because I refused to live invincibly on all the days I didn't get an alert. I wasted all those yesterdays and I'm completely out of tomorrows. Live life to the fullest, babes. You know what you would benefit from? Mateo, you'd benefit from the Midnight Library. It's 1 a.m. I can't believe I'm never returning to my bedroom door. I'm not walking out into a world that will kill me before my time. Okay, so that's chapter 1. Chapter 2 is about Rufus. So Rufus is 10:14 p.m. So I think what's gonna happen with Mateo is he's probably gonna live his best life, his best 24 hours at least, because man's just regretting everything. Like, what would you do if you got a phone call saying, hey, you got 24 hours left, bye. I barely even like getting phone calls from NHS Test and Trace. I have less than 2 hours to live, and I can't think of a better way to spend that time than respecting Mateo's final request to meet his father, the man who raised Mateo into the dude I fell in love with in less than a day. Oh shit, they fell in love in a day? That's oh wait, is Mateo dead? I mean, that's not a spoiler, they both die at the end. That's literally the book title. So maybe he's like ill, maybe Mateo was going to go visit his dad and then he saw him. He's still sound asleep, completely unaware that his son won't be around to welcome him home if he ever wakes up. Hey Mr. Torres, I sit down. Okay. I'm Rufus, and I was Mateo's last friend. I managed to get him out of the house. I don't know if he told you that. He was really brave. I'm sure you're really proud of him, and you knew he had it in him all along. I only known him for a day, and I'm really proud of him too. I got to watch him grow up into the person he always wanted to be. Aww. We did a lot of living today. I gave him the full recap as I go from photo to photo. Me in Mateo's glasses, and he's squinting, but so damn happy. I'm happy too. Even now, when I'm destroyed again, Mateo repaired me. Mateo acted like he was singing only because he wanted to make me feel special. I no doubt did, but I know he was singing for himself too. He loves singing, and you, and Lydia, and Penny, and me, and everyone. Mr. Torres' heart monitor doesn't respond to Mateo's song or my stories. I bet he'll feel like the last man in the world after losing a son. Even though thousands will surround him every day. That's sad. Thank you for everything, Dad. I'll be brave, and I'll be okay. Why am I crying? I've only known them for literally 5 minutes. Yo, I was Mateo's last friend. He was mad brave on his end day. I took photos all day on Instagram. You gotta see how he lived. Nope. No, we're not doing this. I'm really happy your son reached out to me on what could be the worst day ever. Sorry for your loss. That is peak Mateo has a rough life. His mum is dead. His dad is in a coma. But at least he got to live on his last day. There better be an afterlife, and Mateo better make it easy to find him like he promised. I wonder if Mateo found his mother yet. I wonder if he told her about me. If I find my family first, we'll have a hug it out moment, and then I'll recruit them in my Mateo manhunt. I returned my attention to the video, his voice blasting in my ears. I crossed the street without an arm to hold me back. And that's probably how he died. If I'm crying like this now, imagine what would have happened if I actually read the book. Mateo and Rufus found each other when he was going to go visit his dad, who was in a coma. And then they had loads of adventures, and then they probably like fell in love or some shit. And then they probably kissed. And they died. They both died at the end. I wonder what's gonna happen. I am emotionally unhinged. Floral Book Bay, Elias, and Taha want me to get Jesus. They said the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God made the vault and separated the water under the vault. God called the vault sky. And then there was evening, and then there was morning. Alright, he's getting better. And then God said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let the ground appear. And it was so. Damn, this God character is powerful, man. And on the fifth day, God made the trees, and the birds, and the living creatures. And then he made mankind. This God has the same 24 hours as Beyonce and Molly May. The world is literally God's oyster. By the seventh day, God finished the work, and then he rested. God said self-care on the seventh day. Oh, it's a page long. We love it. Juicy detail. There's a lot of details that I've clearly missed, and I need Jesus for the next one. Nadia said, oh, read Water of Silver Flame. I stopped reading this at chapter 13. I was like, yeah, let's give this series a chance. I don't really want to be reading it all unless you would like me to read it all. I was like 15, 16, and I gave it 5 stars. The only thing I had kissed was my Josh Hutcherson pillowcase. And so I must have lived vicariously through this. The forest had become a labyrinth of snow and ice. I had been monitoring the parameters of the thicket for an hour, and my vantage point for the crook of the tree of the branch. I remember why I really liked this, yeah, because it was giving me Katniss in the woods. I was like, yeah, I'm out here for a forest story. Stifling a groan as my stiff limbs protested at the movement, I unstrung my bow before easing off the tree. Come on, now you know I rated this 5 stars. So she risked her life going to the forest because there are attacks on the village. People are getting eaten and turned into bones, and they're hungry. She ate all the bread. All them carbs, gal. I turned gangly by this time of year, and I could count a good number of my ribs. Because YA fantasy girls are always super skinny. She's out here working while her older sisters are out here doing niche. And then she sees eyes in the bushes. So she sees a wolf the size of a pony. Damn. I realized my life boiled down to one question. Was the wolf alone? She grabs her bow and she's like, shit, what do I do? And the wolf is creeping closer. And then the wolf pushes out from the bushes. Muscle and speed and brute strength. And she fires the arrow and then she shoots him. He didn't try to dodge the arrow as it went clean through his wide yellow eye. Oh my god. In Asian culture, it's like a thing to like eat the eyeballs for food, right? So she really left his one yellow ass eye in the snow. If I remember correctly, the wolf was probably like part of some clan, and now she's killed him, and now she's gonna be hunted. So let's go to the end chapter now, shall we? Everything was black and warm and thick. Fighting for air, she's going up, 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 and she gasps, air flooding her throat. She's lying on the cold floor. I blinked. A chandelier dangled above me. Was Sia on it? So she's in a throne room, and she had killed something. I groaned as I braced my hands off the floor, readying myself to stand, but the sight of my skin stopped me cold. It gleamed with a strange light. My fingers seemed longer where I'd lain them flat on the marble. I pushed my feet. I felt strong and fast and sleek. And I'd become high fae. I went rigid as I sensed Tamlin standing behind me, smelled like the rain and the spring meadow. They always smell like dust and ash and rain and spring and grass and gum and trident and Mentos. A high fae, immortal, what have they done? Tamlin is definitely the big, bad, wolfy beast boy. Had he been human, he might have been in his late 20s, but he wasn't human, and neither was I. Well, you're not human now, but you're still the same age. Lowering my leg to stand between my knees. Lowering my leg to stand between my knees. What does that even mean? Our hands on his chest, and then he says, later, he echoed, and he kisses, and then it was soft kiss, and then they're brushing lips, and then he lets out a low growl. The sound of it sent a wildfire blazing through me. Ooh. His eyes were bright, hungry. His hands stopped their exploring. What are his hands? Freaking Christopher Columbus needs to stop his exploring. With a predator stillness, he waited and watched as I traced the contours of his face. I kissed every place I touched. I feel like I'm interrupting something. His ragged breathing was the only sound, and his hands soon began roaming. He starts biting and when my traveling fingers reached his mouth, he bit down, sucking it into his mouth. Huh? And then they're easing on the bed. Huh? Oh, I've definitely interrupted something here. Clearly sleeping. She wakes up from sleeping. She leaves Tamlin on the bed. They're exhausted, apparently. And Rysand is chuckling softly in the darkness. I looked at him. Finally, his membranous wings were out. Just to say goodbye. For your beloved whisk you away forever. Don't you get a week every month? I'm an immortal who has been mortal. This body's different, but this is still human. Maybe it always will be. Maybe His eyes locked on mine, wide and wild, and his nostrils flared, shot blast across his features at whatever he saw on my face, and he stumbled back. What is? I began. He disappeared. The mandem called Rysand is there. She gets her for a week every month. What? Is she on, like, fares on loan? And then he looks at something on her face, he gets scared, and he runs away. So they're in a mountain, they went through, killed some bitches, he's now transformed. And now they're leaving. And now she's a fairy. And now they're looking at the house, and she says, let's go home. I love how in one book she turns into this fairy thing. And in Twilight, it took 4 books before she turned into a vampire. What? Didn't have to read any of that chunk, did I? She's a fairy. End of story. A Court of Mist and Fury. Chapter 1, we start off this book very promisingly. She's vomiting in a toilet. Now, if that isn't a sight that we all can relate to. She's made a pact with someone, and now she has a tattoo on her hand of an eyeball. And Tamlin, the big bad wolf, is sleeping, and she's admiring his naked body and his muscles and his golden hair. Easier to not have to explain the fact that even though I'd freed him, which is Tamlin, saved his people and all of Perithian from Arantha, she's broken herself apart, and I don't think even eternity would be long enough to fix me. That's because you need therapy. And so she's not communicating this with Tamlin. Red flag. So what happened in chapter 1? In chapter 1, she vomits, she looks at her tattoo, and then she goes back to bed. Fair's been trapped at some point in a prison. My girl's always trapped. But I smiled, head throbbing, and said through my tears, I thought I'd never see her again. Tamlin was staring at me as if not quite believing it. And I thought you would never either. And you sold us out. Sold every innocent in this land for all that, all so you could have me back. But it was love that burned in my chest, right alongside the bond that the king of Highburn hadn't so much as touched, because he hadn't known how deep and far he'd have to delve to cleave it. To cleave me and Rysand apart. It had hurt to have the bargain between them ended. I had not doubted it and had not said anything but yes when he'd taken me down the temple the night before. I'd sworn my vows to him and the night court. I'd seen a glimmer of feeling back down the line, wishing I could touch him, hold him, laugh with him. But I kept those thoughts clear from my face. Kept anything but quiet relief from it as I leaned into Tamlin, sighing. So there's Rysand and Tamlin at the end of the book. So she's like, she's had a fairy tale. I wanted it. I don't know how. I just wanted to break free of him, so I did. This is exactly what Molly May says. If you want something hard enough, just go get it. And that's exactly what Fairy did. It was an effort not to turn my hands into claws and rip out his eyes. Oh my god. I'm home now. Forever, he promised. Forever. I parroted. So our game began. We hit the sweeping marbles to the front doors of the manor, and so Tamlin unwittingly led the High Lady of the Night Court into the heart of his territory. Okay, so she's now got even more credentials to her name. She is now the High Lady of the Night Court, and again we end book 2 with her walking back into Mr. Beastie Man's house. Tamlin has done something naughty, and he's a traitor. It's like, has bonds with that Batman dude, forgot his name, Rysand. And even though I don't know all the details, do I want to read the middle parts to find out the details? No, I don't. If I have to endure her stroking his chest, him growling, and biting her skin, I would rather her shoot and gouge out my eye and leave it in the snow for someone to find. The painting was a lie, and she's fake, she's pretending. She has mastered the art of being an actor. Create fire, earth, winds, my god, she would be amazing. The Last Airbender. The battle was a smile I forced to my mouth, to my eyes, the real tell of a smile's genuine nature. I practice in the mirror over and over. Sorry to interrupt, Tamlin says, scanning my face for any signs of the shadows I remember to occasionally fall prey to. But I thought you might want to get ready for the meeting. You talked it over with Ianthe? She's truly coming? The High Priestess who had betrayed my sisters to Hybern, betrayed us to Hybern. We've already agreed to certain conditions, sacrifices. If we break apart now, even with a Hybern as our ally, we have to present a solid front. Together. This is the only time where I'm feeling regret for not having read the books, and the only reason is with any fantasy I feel like my brain is too distracted to really understand like wars or political alliances or just anything to do with land and trade and stuff like that. Rysand! Okay, he's still alive. He's on the roof. The tiles beneath my bare feet still warm from the day's sun. And he's sitting on an iron chair and she slides into his lap. Why is she always getting saucy at the end of books? The shop ladies gave it to me for free as a thanks for saving them from Hybern. Maybe I should do it more often. It gets me free lingerie. This is not an actual real sentence in a fantasy book. I began to tense at the lingering terror that had driven me from sleeping this portrait, the terror I doubted. Those minutes, I said, once he began making long, soothing strokes down my thigh. So, turns out everything's alright. Mr. Tamlin guy, probably dead. Lucian, probably dead. Ira Thatcherson, probably dead, and now they're together, and she has freed herself from wherever she was probably trapped in this one too. Dear folk didn't have to read for 1,000 pages. Court of Silver Flames. Long bare legs, an elegant sweep of his tapered waist, too damn thin, and full, inviting breasts that were at odds with the new sharp angles of her body. Oh, so she has gifts as well. She has some sort of power. In every single book, someone finds out that they're special and they get powers or something. This is like X-Men. Her father's dead. Oh, crap. Don't you lay your filthy hands on my daughter. Those had been his final words, spat at the king of Hybern. The resentment in her heart as he died for her, it had festered and gnawed her. So Nesta is clearly having a villain arc in this novel. I bet she's gonna like, I don't know, backstab Fair or some shit, and then in the end she's gonna be like, Fair, I'm so sorry. You were right. Now she's in Fair and Reese's palace and everything's fancy, and Nesta's own high fae powers had never materialized. She'd only what she'd taken from the cauldron. And she knew that this was nothing she wanted to master. Or is it? Essentially, Nesta is Nesta's the sister. She's been getting naughty, drinking a bit too much. And then travelled all the way to her sister's, and her sister's like, naughty behaviour? I'm sending you to Super Nanny. You're gonna sit in the naughty corner. Where are they going? I theorise that Nesta is gonna be a bad girl. She's gonna be a bit naughty in this one. Spring bloomed, and Fair and Nick finally well enough to leave the house. Every single end chapter is always about some damn house. But none of the others were present on a warm day a few weeks later when Nesta joined Fair and Elaine for a walk outside the city. So they're all alive. Even a glance at the sky revealed no sign of Cassian, who had been keeping Nesta up until dawn with his love-making. Even chapter 1 and the last chapter, none of them are exempt. This is literally just, at this point, an erotic novel with bits of fantasy around, rather than a fantasy with bits of erotic. Oh, shit. She has a son called Nyx. Nyx? The thing I used to line my eyes with. Her father had died for her, with love in his heart. Nesta has grown a heart. So, from what it seems, this book is less about Fair, and it's more about Nesta. She was cold in the beginning, but at the end, redemption. She's warm now. They're all happy family. No one's dead. Yet. I'm just keeping waiting for someone to die. Maybe they do. Maybe like irrelevant people die in between. And you may ask, what was the point of all that? My answer is, there was none. If you want this to be a series, just let me know. Have you read any of these books? Do you wish you had done it my method? I'm Twitter and Instagram going to keep up with my life, and maybe you'll influence the next video. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'd appreciate a like for the suffering and a subscribe for the suffering as well. Huggy time. Escape from the hugs. No. Huggy. Ah! Oh my god.